What if you could build a business that gives you the life of freedom you deserve? What if you could find the secrets to marketing, leadership, customer service, and other aspects of business that help you exceed your goals? What if you could walk away from your business for 30 days and it never misses a beat? That's what this podcast is for, to help business leaders like you find freedom from the day-to-day grind and start spending your time doing the things you love. I'm Levi McClendon, and my co-host is Josh Taylor, and this is the Cheers to Freedom podcast.
Hey, welcome to the Cheers to Freedom podcast. I am Josh Taylor, and I am with my host, Levi McClendon. Levi, how are you?
I'm back. We're back. We're back on.
It's been a while.
Online here. It has been a while, but man, I'm doing really, really well. Just got done with the Freedom Summit 2022 down here in Destin, Florida, and so
by looking at you, you wouldn't be able to tell.
I'm all a little swagged out. Look at, yeah, got a little swag while we're down here.
I gotta represent. The Freedom Summit threw up on you.
I know, right? Royal blue.
So before we get into what we're talking about today, what we're talking about today is something that we did talk a little bit about we talked a lot about it at the Freedom Summit. But let's talk about the Freedom Summit real quickly. It was amazing. I loved it. It took you a minute to love it because it was so stressful. But by the end of it, we were like, okay, we're doing this again.
Yeah, I didn't even know if we'd do it again, Josh. I was like, you're right. It was one of the most stressful things I have ever done in my life, just because there's a lot of moving parts. We had guys paying a lot of money to be here. We wanted to make sure that they were getting the value and just enjoying themselves, along with obviously doing something that's going to change, their car wash and hopefully change their lives. So man, I was an emotional roller coaster from like, this is really cool to I'm never doing this again.
It was weird when I walked into the lobby and you were in the corner crying, but
it's not the first time, Josh. Come on now.
Well, how did it, we are our worst critics. And so we're going to be harder on ourselves. And I think, if we're not, that says a lot about what we actually feel about our customers. So we wanted to give them our best. And so you always want to make sure that you're doing it, and you're going to overanalyze a lot of things. But at the end of it, we asked everybody in the room, hey, who would want to come again next year? And every person in the room raised their hand.
Well, we did
this. That had to make you feel better.
It really did. And that's kind of what I was going to measure this off of. Who, did you get enough value? Would you do it again? And everyone that filled out the survey basically said they'd do it again, and they would refer other customers as well, which is pretty cool. So makes you feel good. So literally I took a day off, and the next day I'm already like, okay, next year, here's what we're doing. This is the stuff we're going to go through, and we're going to kind of take it to a kind of focus on a little bit more probably result-driven metrics and whatnot for next year. This year was kind of an intro to all of that. So we have a lot of things that we're working on for this year. And I'm very excited already we haven't set the date yet. It'll probably be November. But we are going to do an early registration, and we're going to limit it, to the first probably 50 or 52 customers. Again, we don't want this to be a big thing. We didn't do vendors. We didn't make it open to everybody. We kept it pretty intimate, and we had a lot of really good feedback that they loved it. A lot of the owners got to talk to each other. Some of their feedback was some of the best times they had talking to other car wash owners, running ideas by each other. I think during the event, just to see them engage with each other live, while we were just presenting, was very beneficial to us and to them to find out, how do we help them more? How do they help each other more? And so that was pretty cool. And I think it went well.
What I liked about it is we set it up not as a bunch of lectures, but it almost felt like just a giant breakout session. And people were talking back and forth. We were throwing questions out there. They were throwing questions to us, and we weren't the only ones answering the questions. Because some of them had answers when it came to POS systems and different things. So I think we got feedback from almost everybody that attended, and pretty much all of it was positive. They gave us things that they would love to see next year that we didn't get a chance to do this year. And one of the things that people said is they had a great time.
Yeah.
And that was obvious. People just looking around, people were just having a good time. Whether it was on the dinner cruise or
everyone voted the dinner cruise is like the best offsite, out of the conference event.
It was cool.
And honestly, it was amazing, Josh.
The most exciting part was trying to catch the drone.
flew the drone up we about lost it. That was pretty exciting.
I thought we were going to have to buy a new drone.
But we had like dolphins come by. The bay was perfect. I don't know that we could replicate that for next year, but that sure was amazing. And then the golf tournament before that, I got to say, the reason I have to do 2023 again is I need to have revenge because I played like poop. Terrible.
Well,
and we lost.
Fun,
and Sakar and Zach and Jeremy and Austin won. And I don't like to lose. And I got to apologize publicly. And I know we need to get on with this podcast, but Richard with Ultimate, man, I'm sorry. Ryan with H2Go, I'm really sorry, guys. I'm a better golfer than that. So I'm going to redeem myself in 2023. Let's go.
Yeah, Ajit and I, we just went out just to have cigars.
So did Jeremy, and I don't think that was a good choice.
And then he lost his voice for like 3 days.
We learned we're kind of rookies at this. It's our first event, and literally Jeremy loses his voice and needs to present the next day, and he sounded like Tony Robbins. Which is kind of cool.
He did sound like Tony Robbins, so I wanted him to do some like motivational stuff. But anyway, what we're talking about today is retention, and this was profound. I think this was a profound moment at the summit when we talked about this, when we finally discovered a lot of this. And one of the things that we're going to talk about is the benefits of doing the summit, what it did for us as a business and what it did for our customers, not just the ones that were there. And this topic comes from the research that we forced ourselves to do by forcing ourselves to do this summit. And so let's talk a little bit about that. Retention. Tell us some of the information that we found and discovered as we were putting together content for the summit.
Yeah, what was really just kind of eye-opening is the value of increasing your members by just 1 month, okay? And so what happens, Josh, along the way over the last several years, we get a lot of people saying, hey, how do we reduce churn? Of course, we want to reduce churn. We want to save people when they're going to cancel their membership. And even some of the customers saying, hey, what can we do to do win backs? And when people are going to cancel their plans and whatnot. And so it's funny because I'm going to show you these numbers in a second that to me really are eye-opening. And I had a conversation yesterday. So this was pretty cool with a customer. They weren't at the summit, but they called and like, hey, I want to intercept people that are going to cancel and I want to talk to them and blah, blah. And I said, hey, Joe, no problem. We have managed my plan. We have the squeeze page. We're going to bring people to it. You're going to be able to control it. We'll customize it, everything you want. I showed him the whole thing. I said, but Joe, I think that you're missing it. Not just you, but the industry as a whole. I said, the money you want to spend to take and call a customer back, hire somebody, call a customer back, try to get them to stay, throw a win back in there. I said, if you took those funds and allocated them to your site, right? And to when you have a member, do something extra for them, for loyalty, to just hire more people to be on your lot, to engage with them, just raise the bar for customer service. And we gave a lot of those ideas at the summit of how to raise that bar for customer service. And if you focus on that, these guys are stepping over dollars to save pennies. They really are. So it's like, stop doing, nobody cares. If a guy cancels, listen, Josh, this drives me crazy. I promise you, if you offer somebody that's canceling a deal, because this is happening in the space right now, if you go to cancel and I say, hey, why not for the next 3 months, we give it to you for $9.99 a month. Oh, great idea. What's going to happen after 3 months?
They're going to cancel, or they're going to call back and want another deal.
Or they're going to want another deal. Groupon.
I do that with my cable company.
We all remember Groupon, right? Groupon was amazing. People are getting Groupons. But what did it do? It trained people that they weren't going to go somewhere unless they had an offer. So
they should always have
the retail, there had to be a discount. So do you want to train your customers, or do you want the customers that want to be there? It's the same thing with OpSpot. We don't have a long-term contract. Anyone that does business with us, it's month to month. And the reason for that is if you call me and say, we no longer want to do business with OpSpot, it's not working for us, I'm not going to try to talk you back into it. I might give you, hey, have you tried this or this, whatever. But I promise you, if it's not good for you, then that's fine. We are not for everybody in the space. Guess what, Mr. Car Wash owner? Not everyone wants unlimited car washing. Who cares? So let them go easily, put them back into your marketing drip, and get them keep them as a customer, because they're a retail customer now, which you're making more money on anyway, right? You're going to make $15 a pop every time they come in. So take them, and they've already kind of got a habit. They're probably washing more often, and keep them as a customer, but make it easy and don't hound them. Now, listen, We have customers we're doing win back for right now because it's been requested. So I'm going against some of my customers and be like, well, you launched this for us, or you did this. Well, I did it because, and Jeremy did it because it's what's been asked for. But I'm telling you right now, I'm not a fan of it, if you can't tell.
Yeah. Well, and here's the truth behind what you're saying, because we all experience it. The folks that are listening to us, they experience it if they think about it. When you give a customer that doesn't really want to be a customer a discount just to keep them on, they become a customer that's a nightmare.
Right.
And
Right.
they become one of your hardest customers to deal with. They become complainers. They're the ones that are going to give you bad reviews. They're the ones that are going to have expectations that you just can't meet. And so you don't want to keep customers that don't want to be customers. And you don't want to bribe them to be customers if they don't want to be a customer. But if they see the value in what you offer, they are the perfect customer. They're going to be your biggest fans.
Absolutely.
And they're going to be bringing other customers in. But if you're constantly discounting what you're doing in order to keep them on, they don't see the value in what you're giving to them. And exactly what you said, let them cancel and move them back into the marketing campaign and try again to help them see the value of what you offer.
Absolutely. So Josh, let me show you the reason that this kind of came up is, again, why we're focused on bringing value, like what you're talking about. Bring value, make them want to be there, make them want to tell their friends about it, right? Go above and beyond, take that extra step, be the Chick-fil-A of car washing, be the Starbucks of car washing, whatever it is, step your game up. And here's why. I'm going to share my screen. So I'm going to go through this chart with you here, and hopefully this will enlighten you. I showed this to Joe yesterday, and it just really kind of opens your eyes, I think, because I don't see a lot of car wash owners actually knowing their numbers or doing some of these. So even if you don't know your numbers right now, it's okay. I think if you just ultimately focus on taking care of the customers, Josh, statistically, studies show that it's 75% easier to maintain a customer longer than it is to go get a new one. So yes, we're bringing in newbies, which is awesome, but man, take care of them. Take that extra step, put in a loyalty program, smile when they come in, tell them their car looks amazing, do the things that are going to keep a customer longer. And obviously
it's cheaper too.
It is. It's definitely cheaper to keep them longer. And the other thing is obviously with our drip campaign, right? I don't want to forget this. With OpSpot, right? You have the member retention drip campaign. So forever, if somebody is a customer, we are reaching out via text message, via links to videos, via whatever it is that you want to send them, and we're reminding them to come back. Because the number one reason people cancel in the space is because they don't use it enough. And it's because people aren't telling them enough times, a reminder, come clean your car. And it absolutely works because we're seeing people, Josh, go from 9 and 10 months. When we first started doing this with our customers, literally their months a member, their average months that a customer was a member was about 9 to 10 months. We are seeing now 14, 16 months. I mean, literally 20 months. And it's because these guys are doing a great job. They're re-engaging and they're keeping those customers longer. So
we had a customer come to us a couple of weeks ago, right before the Freedom Summit. He didn't go to the summit, but he told us that he'd been with us for 4 months. And in that 4 months, he increased his average months a member by 2 months, just in 4 months. And you're about to show us what that does to a bottom line when you just increase it by 2 months, what that actually did for him.
Yeah, absolutely.
In his bottom line. And these aren't his numbers, but this gives you the idea of what that can do.
Yeah. So I wanted to so if you look at this chart right here, Josh, you got current members in column B, months a member in C, churn in D, both in E, and then we have our freedom. We displayed this chart at the summit. And so what I wanted to do is show people what is your ultimate goal? What is your freedom number? That's what this is about. It's cheers to freedom. What is that freedom number? Where do you need to be? And so if we break this down, and here's the thing, I think a lot of people don't realize that increasing months a member is your number one way to increase money to your bottom line, even over reducing churn. Okay. Mm-hmm. So let's take a look here. I've kept the members the same across the board, except for freedom number. So from B to E, for the listeners that are not watching, we have members at 2,000 across the board. Our average months a member, I'm going to start at 12. So we're going to go ahead and start around 12 months. A couple years ago, I'd have started probably at 10, but I would say our average is around 12 or even higher now. So I'm going to start with 12 at the current members. We're going to start churn at 10%. Then we have a net members of 1,800. We have the average price of a membership at $25 a month. That makes the lifetime value at $300 and the total monthly revenue at $45,000. the total lifetime value of those customers, 540,000. Okay, so this again, this is with starting off with members around 2,000. If we go to months a member, column C, I'm keeping everything exactly the same, but I'm going to increase my average months a member by 1 month. So I go from 12 to 13. And if we go, I'm leaving everything else exactly the same. And if we go to the bottom here, Josh, you're going to see an increase of $45,000, okay, to the bottom line, because that literally takes your 1,800 members and keeps them on for 1 more month. Okay, it's a no-brainer. So if I'm able to increase that, boom, 45,000 to the bottom line. Now, I'm going to pop over to churn.
Now, what I want to say to that, that 45,000 is that is the salary to hire one person to focus on keeping your members.
Dude, that's a really good point. I mean, if you had somebody walking around the lot, taking care of people, and I do know some washes out there that literally have hired somebody for this role. And if you went out now, let's do this since you said that, Josh. So let's say that you hired somebody for that 45 grand and you increased to 13. What if you got to 14? Okay, I'm just going to change that to 14. Boom, 90 grand, right? Let's get, well, we'll get to our freedom number here in a second. So I'm going to back that down just to 13 for now. All right, so we're going to go over to the churn column, and we're going to leave everything the same. I'm going to go back to months a member to 12, but this time I'm going to reduce my churn percentage to 8%. So I'm actually going down 2 full percentage points from 10 to 8. Okay, the difference now is that I've increased 12,000. Okay, now that's good. Okay, but moving the needle from 10 to 8 as opposed to moving the needle on months a member from 12 to 13, it's probably pretty close to the same as far as the effort that you're putting into it. But look at the difference from 45,000
and you're probably spending more money
to 12,000
by doing.
You probably are. You're probably spending more money than the $12,000, right? You are. You're going to spend more money. So that's why the churn product, to automate the churn, is huge, because that is going to help reduce. But if you're hiring somebody, we want to get this number. Okay, let's get down to 4%. And even at 4%, we're still only at 36,000, okay, versus 45,000 just from increasing months a member by 1 month. So do you see where I'm going with this? Like, what is the priority that people should take? Now, again, I think it should be both. I'm not saying not to worry about churn, for sure. 40% of churn's involuntary because of credit card declines, things like that. So, but you really need to think about this. You really need to say, where are we spending our money, and what is going to make
and honestly, churn is kind of the topic that everybody is talking about right now, and it should be retention.
It really should.
I mean, just look at the difference. The effort that you have to put in to get just to take your churn from 10% to 4% is that's a massive difference. That takes a while to get there. And the return that you can get just by increasing your average months a member by 1 month, the difference there, we should be talking about retention. And the conversation, like you said, should be about both. But for some reason right now, everybody's talking about churn. And maybe that's because it's easier to measure. I don't know. It seems like retention would be just as easy to measure. But the amount of effort that I have to put in to increase that retention is so much less, and the return is so much higher.
Well, and the thing is, Josh, and I started off with this with what Joe was talking about earlier, like how do we, someone's going to cancel and blah, blah. Who cares? Who cares? They're going to cancel. If they're going to cancel, don't offer them anything. You know what? You might offer a lower package, and we do that with Manage My Plan, right? It says, hey, oh, you don't, it's too expensive. Hey, did you know we offer this product? Would you be interested? Yes or no?
Yeah, step them down. If price is the issue, try to step them down.
Exactly. Step them down if truly price is the issue. But most of the time, Josh, I don't think that
they just don't see
see the value. They're not using it enough, and they're not washing. So that customer, you're probably not going to keep for very much longer if you do, anyway. So again, the focus is on being the best up front, having the best car wash out there, and keeping these guys longer. So I'm going to go ahead and move over to column E. And this is both, which means I have now combined months a member. I've taken to 13 like I did in column C. I took churn down to 8% as opposed to 10% the first time. And now look at my bottom line is 58,000. So this really is, and I'm going to take my churn even down to like, say, 6%. We're starting to get people actually at 3%, 2.5%, which is amazing. You're doing a really good job with reducing your churn there, which is awesome. But you can see here, even with both, I mean, you're up 71,000. So if your goal, look at did I increase members, Josh? Have I increased any members throughout this whole process?
You're still at 2,000.
Still at 2,000. So what does that mean? That means that when you incorporate the 5 funnels to freedom, right? So you have your on-site, off-site, and online marketing funnels pushing people in, and you're reducing the churn, you're increasing retention. It's so much easier to get to the higher numbers. Car wash companies, when you hear somebody, Josh, that says, I have 5,000 members, I promise you their months of member average is at least 16 months. Okay. And the reason why is because you have those customers for longer. So it's easier to build at a higher level. And when you have a shorter a retention span, man, that means a lot more people are falling out the bottom. So you're constantly having to, fill the funnels. And the reality is in this space, it's inevitable you're going to have attrition. It's inevitable.
Yeah.
So you have to be filling your funnels, reducing churn, increasing that retention. But again, I think the focus, and this is just something that we really, focused on at the summit, and we're going to continue to focus on. When I showed this to Joe even yesterday, he's like, Levi, they don't know. I'm like, what is your months of member average? I don't know. We don't really look at it. We don't really pay attention. So by the time we got off the call, guess what they were focused on by the time we got off? Oh, 100%.
Let's get that.
He's like, screw that cancellation form. Let's start doing a better job on retaining our customers longer, because that's what's going to put money on the bottom line.
Well, I had the conversation with one of our customers last week about this very thing. We're wrapping up building his website, and he was talking a lot about churn, and he's one of those guys. He has a 3% churn. His average churn is 3%. And he said, it actually went up to 6% a month ago. And it was because we had run a special, and all those people now were canceling after that special. And so it brought us back up to 6%. But now we've weeded a lot of those people out. And now we're heading back down to 3%. And it goes back to show that what he's been focused on is retention. He got a little sidetracked with the churn stuff by trying to just get as many people as he could. And he said, but all those people, a lot of those people ended up canceling. And I want to go back to focusing on keeping the people that want to be with us. And if we can make more people want to stay with us, and they see the value in what we're doing, we make more money. And he's crushing it. I mean, 3% churn, and he's not even trying that hard. He's just giving people value and taking care of their customers. And so he's keeping members on for a long time, and he's crushing it. And he's got, I think he's on his way to 10 locations now.
Josh, I think that brings up a good point for another podcast that I want to talk about that we need to mention here. And that is it wise to run specials for people to sign up for membership? Okay. So I don't want to get too into the weeds on that right now, but it brings up a really good topic for that. And so I have my opinions on that. And I don't even think they're opinions. It's numbers, it's math, right? So, I want to talk about that later, because a lot of customers, even at the summit, want to know, hey, what programs work the best? Should we do specials because people cancel, blah, blah, blah. So we'll talk about that later. But I want to hit this final note, and then we'll wrap it up here. Obviously, we talk all about freedom, right? Cheers to freedom. And that freedom is that freedom number that a lot of guys set based off of how many members that it's going to take to get for your particular car wash. So we'll focus on that. So I'm just going to show you here and leave you with this. So we're going to take that freedom number. Some of you guys out there have more than 3,000. Some of you have, 10,000. Very, very few of you. If you get to, anywhere from 4,000 to 5,000, man, I don't see it a lot, I'll be honest, per location. But if we're up to 5,000, 6,000 members, that's huge. So I'm going to take this and from 2,000, let's just say your freedom number is 3,000. I just want to show you what this will do to your bottom line. Let's say if you really focused in 2023 and just said, we are filling our funnels. It's a numbers game. And Josh, we'll have to do another episode about the value of the mobile number and what that looks like and whatnot. But if we said we are going to really focus on filling our funnels and converting people, and we grow to 3,000, and let's say that we do a really good job of customer service and support, and we put in a loyalty program and we keep customers longer, and we get up to 16 months. And then we also have implemented an automated system for, churn, for turn the churn product, and making sure we are reducing that. We get down to 3% churn. Okay. At the end of the day, at the end of the year, the value, okay, goes up $624,000. Okay. And that's over a 16-month period. That's the value that it ends up going, because the total lifetime value of those customers is 1.1 million versus 540,000 that you had. So I think that obviously our focus is to help you grow, from this 2,000 to 3,000. But to get there, okay, you can't just keep pouring fuel on the flame, right? You can, but if you don't fix retention and you don't fix churn and you're not focusing on those things, it is going to be a really hard task for you to get to that level. But you can do it. Yep. You can do it if you implement the things that we talk about all the time and you really focus this year. You can get to those numbers. So I just think these are very important numbers for guys to take a look at. Know your numbers, set a goal, stick to it, and implement the things on your sites, right, at your car wash to make people feel the value and want to stay longer.
So I'll give a little personal story here. I love washing my car. I've grown up washing cars. I used to go with my dad to the car wash all the time. And so I love it. I have a membership, and the car wash that I was previously a member of was really the only game in town. They were one of the bigger ones in town. They were still a local company, but they were really the only game in town. And I was a member with them for over 2 years. Never even thought about canceling because it's just, I love going to wash the car. And my son loves to go with me. And there's something about driving a clean car. I'm one of those customers that really do see the benefit of driving a clean car. But all these other car washes started opening up, and I never once heard from my car wash. In the over 2 years that I was a member, I never got a single text from them. There was nothing that they ever did that made me feel as a member that I was valuable to them, and never really felt the value from them. And so there was no retention campaign on their part. And so when it came time for my credit card to expire and they asked me if I wanted to renew, I said, you know what? I don't think so. I think I'm going to go try one of these other car washes. And guess what? They're keeping me coming back in. They're reminding me that they're there. Oh yeah, I need to go take the car by and get it washed. They're giving me discounts or offers and these different things. They're actually doing stuff to make me feel special as a member, as a valued member. And the other car wash that I was a part of, in over 2 years, never heard from them once. It makes a difference when you focus on your members and help them feel valuable to you, because guess what? They're going to see the value in what you do as well.
Absolutely. It doesn't matter if you're washing cars or going to a chiropractor or getting a massage. I got a massage the other day, and I got a follow-up. I've had several. I like massages. I think it's good for your body and good for your mental state as well. And it's just something that I enjoy doing. You got to take care of yourself, right? And so I was thinking yesterday, I got a follow-up.
When you say massage, you mean pedicure?
No, I've had those too, but no. But ultimately, I got a follow-up, and I was like, wow, like, yeah, I do need to schedule another massage. And it's funny, Josh, it just randomly, I was thinking about this today. I'm like, I've had a lot of massages, and I've never put into any type of retention drip campaign. And if they would just do that and give me little tips about why it's healthy and why you should be doing it. And hey, here's a referral, send out a referral. I mean, all the things that we do and implement with OpSpot, man, if customers, I'm like, ooh, we should go there. And I'm not, don't worry, we're not going to go after the massage therapist. But if they would, I promise you, I would get more massages from those people because yes, life happens. Same thing with washing your car. Life just happens. I'm too busy to go wash my car. Oh, I get a reminder. I'm out. That's a great idea. I'm going to stop by and wash my car. So guys, just because people signed up for your monthly membership for car washes doesn't mean that that's what they're thinking about every day that they take off in their cars, that they need to get the car washed. So it's your job and our job to remind them to come back more often. And then when they're there, treat them like royalty. Treat them the best so that they never want to leave and go experience another car wash.
So the moral of this podcast is, if you're not doing retention or churn with OpSpot, you should call your rep today.
Absolutely.
And sign up for retention and churn, and we'll get both of those numbers to your freedom number.
Absolutely. All
right, Levi. Great episode. That's super informative, really helpful. Hopefully this opens some eyes to some of our listeners and give some perspective on what are the things that we should be talking about and what are the numbers that we should be looking at. And if you don't know your average months a member, here's your challenge. Go figure out what your average months a member is right now, and then set a goal of what it should be by the summertime of 2023.
Absolutely. Yep. Good stuff. Hey, don't forget, text CHEERS. We'd love for you to be first notified of anything that's launching with Cheers to Freedom in the podcast. So you want to text it to the number 411-365. So text CHEERS to 411-365 and make sure to subscribe. I don't know where the subscribe button, if you're watching this
It'll be down there
down
somewhere.
there. Subscribe to the podcast. We appreciate it, and share it with somebody. Hopefully this is bringing some good value to you, and we'll continue to do them as long as people are watching them. So,
all right. Well, hey, Levi, until next time,
man. Cheers.
Cheers.